The pandemic did not invent quiet mornings. It did not create the sound of rain on windows. It did not give birth to the way sunlight warms a kitchen table at 3 in the afternoon. Those things existed before March 2020. What changed was simpler than that. We ran out of places to hide from them. Before, we had meetings, commutes, obligations that felt more real than the steam rising from our coffee. Then everything stopped, and we were left alone with all the things we said we wanted more time for. There was a woman who worked in advertising, 60-hour weeks, back-to-back calls, lunch at her desk if she remembered to eat at all. She used to say she wanted more time at home, time to cook real meals, time to sit with her dog without checking her phone every 30 seconds. Then the lockdown hit. Her calendar emptied overnight, no commute, no office, just her apartment and all that time she said she wanted. The first week felt like a gift. She made sourdough, she reorganized her closet, she sat on the couch with her dog and felt something close to peace. By the second week, the restlessness started. She would sit at the kitchen table with her coffee and watch the light move across the floor. Her dog would rest his head on her lap. The apartment was quiet in a way it had never been before. And she hated it. Not the dog, not the quiet exactly, but the feeling underneath it. The feeling that this was supposed to be enough, that she was supposed to feel grateful, that she was finally living the slower life she claimed to want. But all she felt was trapped. Trapped with herself, with the questions she did not have answers for, with the gap between the life she was living and the one she thought she would have by now. The little moments were there, they had always been there. She was the one who had not been. We talk about savoring the little moments, like it is a virtue we finally learned during the pandemic. Like we discovered something noble about presence and gratitude. But we already knew. We always knew the little moments mattered. We knew our lives were moving too fast. We knew we were missing things that could not be gotten back. We just did not want to admit how hard it is to sit still. Because sitting still means feeling everything we have been running from. The restlessness, the boredom that is not really boredom but something deeper. The sense that we are wasting our lives, or that our lives were never quite right to begin with. Busyness is not just a habit, it is armor. It protects us from the question we do not want to answer. When there is nowhere to go and nothing to achieve, we have to face it head on. Is this enough? The kitchen table, the sunlight, the dog, the tea, the quiet morning before anyone needs anything from us. Is that enough? Some days it is. Some days those things feel like the whole point of being alive. Other days they feel like nothing at all. Both are true. That is the uncomfortable part. The reflection here is not about what we gained during lockdown. It is about what we could not avoid anymore. Some of us baked bread. Some of us watched the birds. Some of us sat in our living rooms at noon and felt the weight of having nowhere to be and nothing that felt like progress. And that weight was unbearable. Not because we were lazy, not because we did not appreciate what we had, because the little moments ask something of us that busyness never does. They ask us to be honest. Honest about what we are living for. Honest about whether the life we are building is the one we actually want. Honest about the fact that sometimes presence does not feel like peace. Sometimes it feels like staring into a void we have spent years trying to outrun. The woman with the dog eventually went back to work. Her calendar filled up again, slowly at first, then completely. She told herself it was necessary, that she had responsibilities, that she could not just sit around drinking coffee and watching sunlight all day. And maybe that was true, but maybe it was also easier. Easier to be busy than to sit with the question of whether any of it mattered. Easier to fill the hours than to feel the emptiness underneath them. The little moments are still there. They never left. But now they feel like something she passes by on her way to somewhere more important. There is a pattern here that goes beyond the pandemic. We fill our lives, we tell ourselves we have to, work, kids, projects, social obligations, things that feel urgent even when they are not. Then something forces us to stop, an illness, a loss, a global lockdown. And we discover that the life we built was also the life we were hiding behind. It's not that we do not want the little moments. It is that we do not trust them. We do not trust that a quiet morning can be as valuable as a closed deal. We do not trust that noticing the light on the table is worth as much as an item checked off a list. We say we want simplicity. We say we want less noise. But when the calendar opens up, we panic. Because if we're not busy, what are we? If we are not moving towards something, are we just standing still while life passes us by? The truth is harder than that. The truth is that both matter, ambition and peace, progress and presence, the drive to build something and the wisdom to notice what already exists. But we have never learned how to hold both at once. So we swing, we burn out and slow down, we slow down and feel guilty, we speed back up and lose ourselves again. The little moments do not solve that. They just show us the problem. So what are you filling your calendar with now? Not in judgment, just in honesty. What are you trying not to feel by staying busy? If the little moments are not enough, what would be? And does that thing actually exist, or is it just another place to hide? Maybe the real question is not whether we learn to savor the little moments. Maybe it is whether we can let them matter without needing them to be everything. Can the sunlight on the table be enough for this morning, even if it is not enough for a whole life? Can we be ambitious and still sit still sometimes without feeling like we are wasting our potential? Can we stop using busyness to prove we are not afraid of our own lives? The Flawed Seeker, new reflection every day at theflawedseeker.com. Same questions, no easy answers, just us trying to figure it out.